All right, copywriters and marketers, what's the hardest thing you're going to have when it comes to pitching a client and getting them involved with direct response marketing? Well, first off, number one, they don't know what direct response marketing is. They don't know that you send out a message and you measure the value of that message by the response. You get a direct response from the customer. You're not looking at secondary terms such as engagement, impressions, all that stuff. None of that matters. Leads and sales are the only thing that matters. They don't understand that. We're going to go through a couple of mistakes and frustrations, but listen carefully. If you can address these objections, if you can address these issues, you're going to get more clients. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. The next point is we've got complex things that have to be done in order to get leads and in order to get sales. So content marketing, for example. I talk about how content marketing is kind of a scam because they got all these tools and everything they're selling you. But as far as the end user, the pitch of content marketing builds demand. Unfortunately, in order for someone to buy a tool, they can't think it's very complex. They got to think the tool simplifies it. So there's the outside marketing of like HubSpot and SEMrush and Ahrefs, and there's all these platforms, and they're good platforms. But the person you talk to when you're talking about managing their content, for example, may have a misconception about what content marketing is. Just like there used to be article marketing, there's now content marketing, and they think basically they can write a piece of content and throw it on the website and they're done. They don't understand keyword mapping, search intent, content mapping, tying of the stages of a prospect when they visit a website. They don't understand all of that stuff. And if you start trying to educate them about that, you don't have the resources that these platforms have. Remember, these platforms have a subscription service that is very profitable. And so when they get you to sign up for $400 or $500 a month on these particular platforms, they're getting their money. So their customer lifetime value is very, very high. So they can afford to educate you and train you and teach you where you cannot. As a copywriter or a marketer, you need billable hours. You can do little seminars in your neighborhood. I get a lot of questions about how to get better, write better content so that I can get more leads in my website. You can have a webinar, you can have a little seminar in your area, but it needs to be one to many, because if you're selling to people, you have to teach the concept to, in order for them to understand why you're doing it. Then you're spending a lot of time that you could actually be doing the work. So you want to look for direct response friendly platforms. So are they using their Google Analytics correctly? Are they using their search attributions and those types of tools readily? I ask some questions up front. What does your Google Search Console look like? They're like, I don't know what that is. That's not a good prospect because they don't have the basics. They don't know how to find their seed keywords. They don't understand topic testing. They don't understand the keyword research side. So now I got to shift, and I know they want content, but they can't get to content until they have these bases. Now, if they go get content and they throw it up on their website, then they're all frustrated because content marketing doesn't work. Well, let's do marketing, and then let's find out what the interest of our customers are. Do you have a customer avatar? What's a customer avatar? You got to start over, because if they don't know what a customer avatar is, then how are you going to write copy for their customer? And so you might have to use different language. So you might have to say, tell me a little bit about your customers. What are the problems they face? What kind of obstacles and challenges they face? What do they fear? And then a lot of that demographic stuff, the customers or prospects will get frustrated because they don't know the answer. They're like, well, I just want more buyers. Well, what does a buyer look like? I don't know. So now you're into research. So if you're just writing copy, you can do it. You can make some money, but you're not serving the customer. And I'm about service to that client. I'm about building that client's business so they're generating revenue and they know where the revenue came from and they have some means of testing. These are things that people don't understand. So it's also the difference between a marketing analyst and a marketing specialist. A marketing specialist makes about $30,000 a year. That's it. But a marketing analyst makes $180,000 a year. Okay? So now if you're selling into the organization, you're saying, hey, look, I'm going to be your interim marketing manager. In their head, they know they can't afford a marketing manager. And now you can talk about how you're affordable because you're sharing the cost. Hey, look, you don't need a full-time person, and that's going to cost you $180,000. But what I got for you is part-time, and we have this plan, and we have the customer avatar, and we have the keyword research, and we're able to bring all this stuff together. And I know it's a difficult topic for you to understand, but ultimately, this is what's necessary to make copy that sells. Now, you don't have to belittle them. You don't have to tell them how, oh, your tiny little mind doesn't understand all the details. That's why we're the wizards and we're going to help you. Magic. You don't have to do it that way. You have to understand that some of your customers don't care about those details. They just want customers and they just want sales, and they don't understand how complex it is. I'm working on a kind of a basic keyword research tutorial, and I'm trying to think about how do I explain seed keywords. How do I explain expanding those keywords into keyword phrases? How do I explain matching those to existing content and then determining where your content gaps are? And then at that point, I'm done. Keyword research, done. Okay? Because that's the basics that someone has to do. There's language learning models. You can you can stem the keywords and turn them into, go look through a larger database or a larger Concord, or I'm trying not to use technical terms, but basically you can take a tiny keyword and then figure out every word related to that in the English language using synonyms and the definition of the word, and now you've got a better library of keywords to work from. Now when you do a search, so an informational intent keyword is the name of somebody. I want to know who is so-and-so, who is the brand name. Okay, now that's an about page, that's a history of the company page, but those are things that they're not interesting to everybody. So you put them out as a single page, focus on the about your company name, and they find your page, and then it tells them about the company, but then it flips them into another keyword where they're trying to determine solutions. So again, it's a complex thing that has to do with language. It has to do with understanding how to persuade people. It has to do with understanding how to get that response. And that's where you're perfectly suited for this as a marketer, as a copywriting professional. Again, they aren't going to understand what you do. I've heard from people, hey, you're a copywriter. How did you get into copywriting? And then they're asking me about like storytelling. And storytelling is important to copywriting, but not a fictional story. I need to tell the story of real life customers. I need to have the disclosure of the actual real customer internally. So if the FTC shows up, I can show them that it's a real case. I need to make sure I have to do the test of feasibility, typicality. I have to run it by legal sometimes to see whether or not we can make the claim. And then is the wording of the claim good? There's like so much you got to do before a mid-sized company can come out and claim that their product is better than somebody else. Now, even when you talk about toothpaste, 12 out of whatever doctors agree, they have to build that case, and then there's a legal document somewhere that supports that case. So if they ever get sued, they could say, well, here's the precedents in which we determined that this is a typicality of claim. A lot of businesses don't understand that. Now, here's the problem. You can go to businesses that don't care about any of that stuff, and they're going to be about maybe up to $1 million in sales. But they're not going to be able to pay you what you're worth. So you need to be looking at $1 million plus businesses, $5 and $10 million businesses when you're looking at local marketing. So if you're going to there's barely any competition in your market for that tier. Now, when you start looking at regional and national accounts, you're looking at $50 million companies, $100 million companies. They have the funds to hire people, but they can't build out a big old team to do all that stuff. So, but the problem is in the corporate nature of that is that your marketing manager, and they're going to try. They're going to try to do all that stuff. And then they're going to say, they're going to do the typical ad agency claim. Oh, geez, the economy's so bad. That marketing should have worked. We all passed it around the office and agreed that that's the best copy we've ever written. But, the customers just didn't respond because of the economy. Because, you should have used the color blue. Our tests have shown that customers love the color blue. None of that stuff is real. If you want to do like I've done in the past and create hundreds of millions of dollars for clients, you need to have direct response. But you got to also have a client that has the volume in order to produce hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff, and they also have to understand the concept. So my risk management background helps me know that privacy laws are important, and the privacy laws have certain characteristics and aspects. So I can say, hey, by the way, beautiful campaign, but you know those 3 fields you just put in that email, it disclosed personally identifiable information, and that can get you in trouble, especially since you sent out 10,000 of the emails. Hey, by the way, this claim you're making could get you in trouble. Let's look at a different way we can say the same thing, but not make it a direct claim. So can we find an authoritative source to quote? Can we use the customer's language? Can we present it with a fact-based argument rather than this speculation that you have? See, this is the value add that you bring. Now, you go to a larger company, the larger company understands the concepts. A lot of times, subbing to direct response agencies is a real good idea. But then you can go in there and do this work. So again, it's a mistake to assume they even know what you're talking about. It's a mistake to just kind of go in there and sell them on the lightweight. You know, it helps to sell. You don't want to overwhelm them, but get them in a conference, get them in a discovery call, and start asking the questions to determine their knowledge level. Because you might be in a situation, I've talked with clients before that don't even have analytics set up. They're like, I want more traffic at my website, I want more leads, I want more sales. They understood that concept. But I said, okay, well, show me your traffic. Well, I don't know. Well, how many people did come to the website last month? I don't know. Okay, first we got to figure that out. Then we got to figure out the composition of the people, and then we got to figure out why did they come to the website, and then we also got to figure out what Google and Bing and all these search engines think your website's already about, and then we got to decide what your website needs to be about in order to get sales. And so what do they look for when they're trying to solve a problem? What problems are they trying to solve? And then, of course, how does that map out to your product? It can be a lot of work sometimes. It can be very frustrating for the end user, especially since they've been pitched by Google and Facebook. All you got to do is run the whole pay-per-click is the tiny classified ads pitch. So it's a tiny classified ad, make millions of dollars, sell more of your product and service. But what ad do you write? What keywords do you target on? All this becomes an industry. It becomes a frustration. You're there to help your clients eliminate the frustration by zeroing in on what stage of maturity they need to be at or move up to, meet them where they're at, and ultimately help them solve specific problems, help them solve these problems incrementally. Now, what's great about this as a marketer, as a copywriter, is that incremental solution helps them grow the business. If they've got a sales letter that works and they don't have enough traffic on the sales letter, you can help them generate leads in other areas of the business, help them create their own media, and then the prospect newsletter is a great way to hop those leads into an existing sales letter that works. You don't have to teach them how to digest the sales letter into lead forms and then digest the sales letter into informational or suggestive copy to help the customer understand the problem and how your solution is the one that solves that problem. But ultimately, it has to be done, because you can't just take a cold prospect and throw a $900 offer in front of them or throw a $10,000 offer in front of them. There's a selling element of this that your customer, if they understood, would not need to hire you. If they understood how much work it was to produce copy, they would produce the copy. Okay? So we're not low dollar choices and opportunities, and we're not just writing copy that sells. We have a whole system in place in order to produce content that matches the customer's intent, that matches the customer's desires, that persuades them into making a buying decision, that helps them along the way to get the right product, and then ultimately has copy to serve them. This is very important. Now, if you don't understand these concepts, it's okay, because it's difficult. And you can probably do best with just a high-level overview so you can plug yourself into those stages. When you understand these stages, it'll make it easier for you to find clients too. So be sure to ask your questions below. You can also visit me, Justin Hitt, at www.adbriefings.co.uk. And then we're going to try to do some demonstrations, because when people ask me questions, I like to answer the questions as as accurately and as clearly as I can. And so that sometimes is a webinar or a demonstration. So when you go and ask the question at my website, you're going to get on our free newsletter, and then I'll get you links to where all this stuff's located. Because again, it's hard to pitch. I heard a marketer a couple days ago telling me how difficult it is to help the customer understand what's really necessary just to do shorts. So somebody wants YouTube shorts. If you do it right, you can use it on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. But if you spam all those channels with the same short, you could have problems. Anyway, I'm Justin Hitt with Insight. I got too many newsletters. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. I'm here to help you really run the business of copywriting, get more accounts, get more clients, get clients that stay, pay, and refer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next podcast.